Hey couples, it's Brian and Tracy, and today on the channel, we're talking to any parent who has a kid who has friends who leaves them out, and it creates all kinds of drama, and you're caught right in the middle of it. We're going to talk about how to help your kids to deal with the drama with friends. Yes, sometimes it's like watching a horror film, and we're going to talk about 2 things not to do when you're helping your kids and 3 things that you want to make sure to do when you're trying to parent well. Number 1, don't overreact. Remember that drama happens and kids have short memories, and they're going to get over this.
I'll tell you, that's been one of the things that's been really good for me to be reminded of, because I have a few stories in my mind with both of my kids that were left out of something and were so sad and hurt. And I just literally had a conversation with my son about one of those situations. He didn't even remember it. And he's 19. So I'm talking about something that maybe happened at 11 or 12. It's not that long ago, but I do think parents, it is important for us just to remember that kids have short memories, and what seems devastating to them in a moment isn't going to really matter to them later on in life. So remember that. Remember that this is a situation. It's painful. Yes, it's hard. We hate to see our kids heartbroken, but don't overreact, because this is just part of the thing that they have to learn and grow through developing friendships.
And also, don't pile on. Remember, they've already been feeling rejection, so don't add to it as a parent. Make sure that you're not making them feel like they did something wrong, because probably they didn't.
Yeah, and again, this to me, for me and my parenting, it would have been asking questions. Well, what did you say? Well, what did they say? Or how did you know that they were mad at you? Or, and kind of asking questions can make your kid feel like this is on them. This is their problem, rather than kids can be mean sometimes. There's always going to be the mean boy and the mean girl that's kind of dictating the social, has the social power in the group. So just be careful that you don't pile on and make your kid feel even worse for the rejection that they're feeling from their friends.
So those are the 2 don'ts. And then we've got 3 things that you want to make sure to do. First of all, make sure to listen with empathy. Remember, just like in marriage, don't offer solutions before your kids feel heard and before they feel loved.
Yeah, one of the most important things as parents, especially in that middle to late elementary years into junior high and high school, is we want our kids to feel like we're safe people to come to. So parents, if we overreact, if we get upset, if we're like getting ready to pick up the phone to call the parents of the kid that's being mean, that might just send the message to our kids that we can't handle it. We're not safe to come to, so they won't talk to us about it. So we really need to just be in the moment, listening to our kids, just hearing what makes them sad, ask them questions about, how did that make you feel? If you were in that situation, how would you respond to a friend? And just be an empathetic listener and make sure your kid feels like you are on their side.
And here's another way to do that. Share your own story. Remind your kid that you've been there before when you were a kid. Remind them that it hurt you just like it's hurting them right now.
Yeah, this is just a normalizing thing. I think it's helpful when our kids realize they're not the only ones that are going through this, although it always feels like that when you're the person being rejected. So just share some of the stories of things that you might remember when you were growing up, and talk about, that's how that made me feel and that made me sad. But you know what? Guess what? A couple months later, I ended up making different friends or better friends or whatever, and just kind of create some connection with your kid over your own hurts in the past. That'll just help to normalize the situation.
And one more thing, and maybe you didn't think of this last one, do something fun as a family. This will remind your kid that their best friend group is there to stay, that really the family, you and their other siblings, are the ones who are going to be sticking with them through thick and thin, from elementary to junior high to high school and beyond.
To me, this is a great tip and something that we use with our kids. That I remember one time with our daughter, she wasn't invited to something. So rather than just sitting around at home and wallowing in the fact that her friends were all someplace and she wasn't, we just planned a fun outing. We kind of got out of the city where we lived and just went to do something fun, and just kind of recreated some connection as a family. Because at the end of the day, parents, I hope that you see the value of creating meaningful, safe connection with your kids in the home, because the world is a scary place. So if our kids feel like they come home and it's not safe for them, or it's a lonely place at home, then that just adds fuel to the fire of kids that are already going through a lot of angst at this time in their life. So Create meaningful, fun family adventures and don't just sit home and focus on the negative stuff. Create connection as a family and remind your kids, like, you guys are loyal to one another. You'll always have your family, even if you don't always have some of your friends.